Well, this day has been a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this food, but I'm just not very hungry, so I think I'm just gonna throw it away. What do you mean you're just gonna throw it away? I mean, I'm glad you had a good time on the date, but you know how many people could benefit from the food you're about to throw away? I mean, no, it's not really going to affect anyone. Not affect anyone? Don't you even know what a food desert is? Okay, you don't have to attack me like that. No, I don't know what a food desert is. So what is a food desert? Well, I'm really glad you asked. Food deserts are a suburban phenomenon appearing at a rapidly increasing rate in the United States. These food deserts often have people who either don't have transportation to or can't afford to buy healthy foods. Well, couldn't these people just walk to the grocery store and buy foods? Well, if only it were that simple. Well, there are 3 different types of communities related to food. Food deserts, food swamps, and food oases. Okay, well, what's the difference between the 3? So in food oasis, there's ample access to healthy foods as well as farmers markets and healthy stores such as Whole Foods, as well as the money to pay for these foods. In food swamps, the same locations exist with the same access to foods, but people often can't afford them. So food deserts are the worst of both worlds. You have people who can't afford these places in the first place, but they also don't have access to them. So is it like people in food deserts just don't have access? Well, that's part of it. There are actually many reasons why people in food deserts can't get healthy foods. Well, what sort of factors affect people in food deserts? Well, according to this one study online, food deserts are often places where people are underpaid by their jobs, they don't have a private car, and oftentimes they're even of a minority profile. Alright, what does race even have to do with it? This is more of a generalization, but people can be discriminated against because of their skin color and then are then pushed into these underserved community areas. Because they are underserved, the education for these food desert areas are not of a very high caliber, so the residents often don't graduate high school, they don't get into a college level degree programs, and then they enter lower level jobs which often don't pay enough, don't provide adequate health insurance, or a very high salary. So not only are they not eating healthy food because of their lack of finances, they also don't have the education or health insurance tools to prevent or fix the complications of the poorer diets later on. Wow, that sounds terrible. I would really not like to live in a food desert community. Yeah, well, no one would, and we all need to start doing our part, such as finishing our meals, to prevent food deserts and help fix them. So obviously now I know that I should start finishing the foods on my plate or order less food. But what can the community we're in as a whole do to help prevent the spread of food deserts? Well, I'm really glad we're talking about this. What is something that you think would be really important for a community in order to solve this? I don't know, maybe money and sharing. I don't really know what's the answer. Now, this may not be right, but I personally believe that empathy is the key way to solve these food deserts. Empathy, just empathy. Yeah, exactly. If these food oasis neighborhoods were able to donate their extra foods or even wasted foods to build compost in these food desert locations, that would help out tremendously. Well, what sort of foods could be saved? Actually, a while ago I worked at a food bank, and one of the things they told you at the food bank was that there are a lot of canned goods that get wasted by people who just have extra food lying around where the expiration date has been met. And so people will throw away foods, but those foods can actually last a lot longer. It's just more of a safe bet to put a later expiration date. And the same thing goes for foods from schools and restaurants. They just have to throw it away because that's what USDA guidelines are. However, those foods can be still be served. They just have a longer shelf life. Wow, so even if I didn't want to eat this food in front of me, I could keep it and compost it and help donate it to a food desert? Yes, exactly. Wow, I've really enjoyed talking about this with you. Yeah, I really feel like I learned a lot. What should we talk about now? I don't know, how have you enjoyed this date? Well, this date has been a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed this food, but I'm just not very hungry, so I think I'm just gonna throw it away.